Hi all, this is Dr. J, speaking to you live from Long Island, New York, where the weather is now drizzly, where it had been a pretty okay day for most of the day. When I did my midday report, it was just fine, the weather. It had rained earlier in the morning, but it cleared up, and as I said in my midday report, it was raining red on Wall Street. It looked much worse at noon or 12:30 than it did at the close, where it gained back about half off of its low. That's a nice move back. And that goes for a lot of stocks as well that gained back towards the end of the day. In particular, the pot stocks sold off sharply in the morning, reversed midday, and most of them closed in the green. We're going to examine the king of pot stocks, Kronos. We're also going to look at Aurora again, ACB. We're looking at Amazon, Apple, Dow Jones Industrial Average, SPX, which we haven't been looking at, the NASDAQ Composite, which we haven't looked at in ages. So we have an ambitious agenda for tonight. And it is 8:30, so I'm coming on awful late. I'm going to have to talk awful quick so that I can get through by midnight and go to sleep at a normal hour. Anyway, as always, here on due diligence, my opinions are strictly my own, do not constitute investment advice. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends about us. Please share the link. Please write comments and please like me. I like you. Let's get started without further ado. There we go. Share screen. I hope my video situation is better. It hadn't been good for a while, but I had my Verizon friend come over. I think he improved it a little, although I'm not sharing a screen for some reason. There we go. Okay, let's go from left to right. Maybe I should try right to left one day. I did a fib retracement chart from the high, the recent high that we had on February 6th, just yesterday. The high was 25,439 to the low that we had on what date? 12/24, the day before Christmas, and that was a low of 21,792. Just for the fun of it, I wanted to see how close we would get before this sell-off is over to the 38.2% retrace level, which is at around 24,000. I think it could go down to about 24,010 if indeed this is the start of a pullback. However, I like the way it hit my support line, which is my upper descending trend line. It hit it and bounced nicely to get back most of its losses for the day, finishing down only less than 1%, down 220 to 25,169.53. We are continuing, although for the first time in a long time, actually for the first time since Christmas, we've slipped below, entirely below the upper trend line. So that's not a good sign. But we did touch it. So we're still clinging to that upper trend line. It's quite possible, as I said before, we'll have follow-up days of red, bringing us down to right about here. Who knows, something like 24,100, maybe 150. It's a good guess. I don't think we hit the 38.2% at 24,000. So I think this will be a small pullback, max pain, 5%. I just want to quickly show you the bear case as I did in my midday report. The bear case is best seen from the weekly. So let's change it to a weekly view. Okay, so you notice that in the weekly view, we are going straight up. We have not taken out the previous high at 25,980. Until we do so, technically this is still in a bear market. Although we retraced most of the loss from 25,980, there's still more to go. And in fact, today we gave back. So from the weekly, it's not crystal clear that we're back in the bull. I mean, I think we are. From the daily, it's quite clear. But the weekly, not so clear. The NASDAQ. Okay, this is a NASDAQ composite. Normally in the past, I'd look at the NASDAQ 100. There's not a hell of a lot of difference between them, between the charts and probably between the composition. So unlike the Dow, it's still adhering to its upper trend line, although barely, and did cross over it, but closed above it. A very nice bounce back for the NASDAQ, even though it was down 1.18%, the weakest of the three indices today. It still is nothing to sneeze at. I kind of like this daily chart. New highs have been made. We took out a lot of old highs. We took out the high of 1212, which was 71.97. So we're taking out old highs. I have my eye on this one, the high of 12.3, which is 74.86. We take that out, we're in business. Just for the hell of it, let's take a look at the weekly here. Let's see if we see a different picture. By the way, if the Dow corrects, this too will correct, maybe to its 50-day moving average, which would probably be up above 7,000. All right, so anyway, let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly time frame clearly shows that this candle of 12.3 has to be taken out, 74.86, in order to be a valid bull market. Right now, it is still a bear market on the NASDAQ. The S&P 500. I'm looking at the daily time frame, and like the Dow, we adhered to the upper trend line, but barely crossing over, and we did not close above it like the Dow. So in a way, the S&P is the weakest of the three, even though it didn't lose the most. It lost less than 1%. NASDAQ lost a whole percent. Still in all, if it gives back some, it probably will give back over the next few days to get to about, I don't know, 2650, something like that. Okay, let's take a look at, do you want to take a look at the weekly on this? What the heck? Take a look at the weekly. Same exact story. We have to take out 2760 before we could get, take out 2800 before we can get too excited and call it a bull market. But by the time we do that, we're very close to the all-time high of what? 2940. So I personally think new all-time highs are in the cards. Maybe we get a little pullback here. Big deal. No more than 5% on any of the major indices. NEO had a phenomenal run. Let's see how it did today. Down 4.29%. It gave back a little more than I would have liked. NIO, of course, is the electric car maker that's Chinese-based, that's promising to give Tesla a run for its money. I drew support at 811, and it kind of went right through that support level rather easily, disappointingly so, and in fact took out the low of the day before. I don't like this candle one bit. I think if we do have a pullback in the indices, this one could pull back a lot more than the indices. So if we get a 5% pullback in the Dow, we could get a 20% pullback here very easily. It showed weakness today after a phenomenal move. Apple, down 3.3. Gave back a lot today of its recent gain, but it still stays above the 50. It still stays above its ascending channel, which is good. So considering how good Apple has been, consider this a gift, and if it goes down some more, a better gift to get back in. Apple, Dr. J is very bullish on Apple. Amazon.com. Amazon.com retested the 1590 level, which I didn't think it would. Remember yesterday or 2 days ago in my wrap, I said I kind of felt it could, but I didn't think it would. But it did. It retested that level and it held. The low of the day being 1592, so it never got to 1590. Came back up very nicely to basically form a hammer on the day, very long bottom shadow, a very small little red body, kind of like an ant with a red, I don't know if I'm using a strange analogy. Anyway, the candle doesn't look bad. It could have been much worse. Amazon was resilient today, down 25.89, but I don't like the after hours action, down to 1600. We'll see. I think it holds. Of course, if the general market declines, maybe we give back some. I just don't think we're going to give back much. It'll be grudging. Any give back will be grudgingly give back. It'll be a grudging give back. We won't give it back easily. Cron, OS, the king of the pot stocks. I mean, look at this chart. It's just phenomenal ascending trend line, which it veered off from in an exponential fashion. It had to come back down off of this tremendous move February 4th. I said it would, and it did. And it held what is now support at 1872, the low of the day. That will be support going forward. I love this candle. What a reversal it had. Beautiful candle. Kronos is solid. Kronos is strong. Kronos is a buy on any weakness. The market has told you what it thinks of Kronos. Philip Morris told you what it thinks of Kronos. I've talked about their investment by Altria Group a number of times. 1.8 billion for 45% of the company. That happened when Kronos was about $13. They were estimating it at double that $13 or close to it. And the market agrees with Philip Morris, and it got there really quick to the valuation that Philip Morris paid for the stock a little pullback may occur, but I think this is going to hold the low of the day today. So on any weakness, if you haven't gotten in, or if you want to add to your position, not a bad idea. Dr. J should have added today, but I don't know. I was lethargic, didn't pull the trigger. I regret not having added when it went below $19. The market told you today where it will be. Step in and buy the pot stocks. At $19, Kronos will be bought. All right. Basically, it was loud and clear today, the message. Aurora. The pot stocks bucked the trend. We were all up for the most part, including Aurora. Although Aurora has an unspectacular chart compared to Kronos, Aurora is not at new all-time highs, which would have to be 1252 or greater. I mean, it could get there, but it's not there yet. It's got resistance at 834. It's got to get past that hump. And I like the fact that it pulled back to its upper trend line and bounce, and has a nice full green candle today. It's very close to an engulfing candle. In fact, it is, although I think it's totally meaningless that it's engulfing the candle of the day before, because the body of the candle from the day before is not much of a body. Nevertheless, Dr. J is bullish on pot. Let's get high on pot. No, I'm not advocating that. Take the TCH out of pot. Just use the CBDs. So I went through this rather quickly, and I'm glad I did, considering the lateness of the hour. Glad that I got this broadcast in. I hope it worked, because I'm not seeing myself in the picture. So that always gets me a little nervous as to whether or not the video was good. My lips are moving in sync with with what I'm saying, which is a good sign. Hopefully you heard every word, every brilliant word that I uttered tonight. Stay strong, stay long, buy the dips, sell the rips, all the usual sayings. What did I say? Buy low and sell high. I like that one. That's the first one I ever heard. Buy low and sell high. You know, it still holds true, even though I heard it when I was just a young lad. This has been Dr. J, streaming live from Long Island, New York. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to tell your friends. Be sure to give me a like. I like you. Hopefully you like me. Adios, amigos. Hasta mañana.